Ladies and gentlemen.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, and don't forget to subscribe. On today we're going to be talking about a very hot topic, Mr. Jay-Z. Now, as some of you may know by now, Jay-Z has decided to partner with Target to re-release his debut album, Reasonable Doubt. Now, ordinarily this would not be an issue or a cause for any type of conversation, as Target does have a music department, small music department inside of their electronics department, where they sell vinyl albums and CDs. And so this would ordinarily be just another Monday or Tuesday, right? However, Target decided to roll back their DEI program under the, I would say, encouragement of the current presidential administration, to which there was a boycott that was called from a very prominent religious leader, pastor, preacher, that is one Jamal Bryant out of Atlanta, and called for African Americans, Black people, to boycott Target until they, make that right, or what they would consider to be right, on Target's behalf, or Black people, they didn't want Black people to shop there. And so that boycott was called for 40 days. And it was just called off, I believe. He just called it off in March. And so I'm not sure if the majority of Black people started going back to Target once it was called off, or sometimes just out of habit. If you stop doing something, you just stop doing it, right? So I'm not sure if that was the consensus, but from the outrage that has been coming out as of late this week, I'm assuming that no, the boycott was still on, and people of color, Black people, were still not shopping or patronizing Target. Now, this is issue for a lot of people. It is not an issue for me, for reasons why I'm going to explain. I almost want to say almost 10 years ago at this point, right? There was an NFL player by the name of Colin Kaepernick that took position against police brutality by kneeling during the national anthem at national football games. Colin Kaepernick was the quarterback actually for the San Francisco 49ers. However, he wanted to take that stance. He has that right. At some point, I think he was either released from the team, or he quit, or contract wasn't signed, something to that effect. And the call for the African American community was to boycott the NFL, not to watch the NFL until he was picked up. The whole thing was, okay, he's not being picked up, he's not playing because he's been blackballed. This person, being Colin Kaepernick, has been blackballed from the National Football League. So Black people don't watch the NFL, until he is back on a team. Now, after quite some time, just to give you a little bit of quick backstory, Jay-Z partnered at some point with the NFL to take control or take over the NFL halftime shows. And there was a huge outrage about that, obviously, because it's like the community is saying, hey, we're boycotting the NFL until this guy gets a job, because he was just trying to speak out against, some social injustices that were going on in the nation. And here you come in as a Black man, a person of color, to disregard what the initial intent was, right? So at some point, seems like there was a little bit of, not even a little bit, there was a lot of backlash, but I think people at some point had moved on from it. Now, I'm not sure if Black people in mass were continuing on watching the NFL games, or not. But since that moment, I came to an understanding of how Jay-Z aligns himself in racial situations. I'll say that. Now, I believe everyone has their own right to their opinion. This is America. I don't try to sway anyone one way or the other. So I'm not going to, start doing that now. I have my own personal opinion about it. Here's what I will say. Jay-Z showed himself in that moment where he stood. And as someone who was part of a union in a previous career, that's what you would call crossing the picket line, right? If we're all standing on this side for better wages, and then someone says, but hey, if I can go over there, I can get a promotion, or something to that extent, or hey, I'm going to work, I mean, totally, again, you have your rights. That person would be looked at in a particular manner. And so that's kind of how the Black community was looking at Jay-Z. Now, since that moment, again, I perceived him to be in a certain way. His concern is for, I would say, capital. I would say what some would say that's a strategic or a power move, or some people say it was a selfish move. Whatever the case, he made that decision. Now, if you go through a social history of one Jay-Z, there seems to be a pattern in his behavior to where he's known to do kind of under the table, backhanded. He looks out for self. That's kind of just a short way to put it, right? He's not for the group think or the group motivation or that type of thing. He's like, if I can get a great deal out of this, I'm going to get this great deal out of this. So there, at this point, there isn't anything that he can do in terms of business to shock me. So I'm taking a position of shocked by how shocked people are. I think it was Maya Angelou who said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Meaning that you don't have to see the same example or similar examples of this person demonstrating who they are. You can definitely believe them at this time, at that time. I liken Jay-Z to, in the relationship, the psychological damaging relationship that he has with the Black community as a man who's, or even a woman for that matter, who has told their ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend, ex-wife, ex-husband, what have you, that I don't want to be with you, and then they block your number. And then instead of that person getting it, like, oh, they don't want to be with me anymore, whatever reason they have chosen to go on in their life without me. To me, a solid person would say, okay. And by solid, I'm not talking about mental health. I'm just saying somebody that accepts the situation for as it is would say, okay, all right, well, I'm going to go on. Now I know you don't want me, and that's totally fine. I'm going to move on and find somebody else. But the shock that I'm gathering is, instead of the Black community or African American people of color accepting the fact that he's blocked your number, you're continuing to call. And then you're calling from other people to see if he will answer. That's kind of what I'm gathering. That's kind of how I'm perceiving it. He has shown me, and I think he has shown you as a community, where his allegiance stands and just what he believes in and what's important to him, just on the outside looking in. I'm right, because none of us really know what his actual intents are. But from the outside looking in, it kind of looks like he's not aligned with your moral principles. So therefore, the shock and the anger needs to cease, right? I can't tell you how to feel. But if you would accept it that first time that he showed you where he stood, then you just keep moving on. Okay? If you're still in the hip-hop There are sure other hip hop rappers or moguls, former entertainers, and the like that will tickle your fancy. But he's shown you, or he's blocked your number, or she's blocked your number is blocked. Stop calling. Stop giving that your energy. Stop calling and move on. And pour your energy and your efforts into positive things that make you feel good, things that support and uplift the community that you're representing. Now, I've heard people say that being that Beyonce is married to him, that she's no different. Same thing with Nelly and Ashanti. And let's talk about that. Now, Beyonce's been pretty vocal about where she stands politically over the years, especially supporting the Kamala Harris campaign when she was running for president. But of course, there was massive backlash for Ashanti when Nelly supported, or came out and performed rather, for one of the inauguration parties or dinners for the current administration. Now, does a wife represent all of her husband's ideas? No. I think two people can be married and have a difference of opinion on certain matters. I definitely think that's possible. I think that you cannot agree with your spouse, but you keep those disagreements, especially if you're someone in the public eye, I think you keep those disagreements in private. And you never want to come out against your husband, right? I don't expect her to come out and say, I don't agree with this and I'm going to divorce him. No, I don't see that for either one of these ladies, for Beyonce or Ashanti, right? But here's what I will say. I don't know where Ashanti stands politically. I can't recall her ever publicly supporting any candidate on any level of government. I don't recall that at all. I have seen moments of Beyonce supporting the Democratic Party. She even came out, I think, supporting Hillary Clinton. But here's what I will say. I also feel that Beyonce capitalizes off of any particular movement that's going on to create an album. I'll just say that. There's a boycott that's going on in the Black community where Black people are not supposed to be patronizing any Asian-owned business. And I can totally see her making an album in some way, shape, or form about that. Cowboy Carter wasn't about artistic endeavor. It was about how can I do something so different, to me, in my opinion, to win Album of the Year at the Grammys. I've done R&B, hip-hop R&B, all that good stuff. Okay, let me just do something out of the park. When she came out with the Renaissance album, and a lot of that was like dance, go-go kind of music. When she came out with the Lemonade album, to me, she just, in a way, she culturally appropriates different cultures. And those cultures, when we think culture, we always think it, goes directly to ethnicity. Sometimes a culture, culture literally just means kind of like a segment of people, right? I feel like she was really catering to the LGBTQ community, and that's her right to do so. When she came out with a lot of the stuff on the Renaissance album, in my opinion. However, nonetheless, I just would not be surprised at this point, to take it back to my original topic of the outrage with Jay-Z, if he came out and opened his own Asian athletic shoe line, or opened a chain of, dim sums, whatever. To me, and I'm not giving my personal opinion about this particular boycott either, because everyone has their right to do their own thing. This is America, right? But I'm just simply saying is the outrage has to be tiresome at this point. He has shown where he stands. He picked a side a long time ago. And now it's up to you to believe him and then move on from the outrage and find artists or entrepreneurs that are in line with your moral principle and code and support them. Thanks for watching.